Do, 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 do.
This is how it is. 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 Today on Pop Culture Minefield.
I'll go to my yeah.
This is how it is.
How it is.
Today. This is how it is. Today on Pop Culture Minefield.
Come on.
This is how it is. This is how it is. Today on Pop Culture Minefield. Today on Pop Culture Minefield.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I did write that, and it gets my ass bumping in the chair. Just, I love that theme. I tried writing one for you, Pat, and I've been very frustrated trying to write a theme for you.
Oh,
Because,
really?
Yeah, because I tried to go back to the old 50s style jazzy cop
Yeah.
theme, and it didn't work. So I'm like, I don't know what to do, because I wrote a theme for everybody but you and John. So far, I haven't done one for John. But, what am I going to write for John? It's like, I play games. I'm teasing you, John. I'm teasing you. But for you,
I
it's
have an
like a
idea
Wednesday
for
is
John,
cool.
Gary. You need to do it like Loki did for Mexican Iron Man. Make a song mocking him about how he's missing and how he needs auto shoot, stuff like that. Could be fun.
Yeah, where's John? It's like,
and he's
what is
lost
that?
all the time.
Where is something Carmen Sandiego? Remember that show?
Yeah.
These two wouldn't know, but you and I know, Patrick. Carmen Sandiego was a very popular show, and it's like, where on earth is Carmen Sandiego? Do a theme like that for John, like where's Waldo? Find him.
Yeah.
Can you find one? For you, it's just like I wrote a couple of themes, and I'm just like, I wasn't happy with either of them, so I've just not done it. And what I do is if I'm not happy with something, instead of trying to rack my brains, I set it aside
And wait.
and then go do other stuff, and then I'll come back to it and see if I can see it from a different angle this time. Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys. Let's see.
How you doing? Who's here? Who's here? Who's watching the show right now?
Bonsoir, Emmanuel.
Comic Relief Crusader, also known as Mike. And then we got Emmanuel, our French member. She's now a member. So she's a member now. So she's in the members group. Then we got that asshole Cohen's ghost. He is
can I block him for good?
Yeah, no one cares. Ghosts don't count.
Now,
They're not
wait a
gonna be
minute.
there.
Ghosts aren't negative people. They're just non-people.
That's why they don't count.
There's Patrick Jordan in the chat. So it's like right now we only have 8 people watching, but it'll grow. Usually it's up around 30. And
half
then
of the chat is the panel.
if it's a good film that people are interested in, by the following Monday, we will have close to 300 to 400 views on the video. And that's why I try to pick films that I really love that I think other people like talk about. And this one, and I asked Patrick to stick around for a few minutes because I wanted to talk about this film because it was shot in 95, released in 96. And I consider it one of Ron Howard's best films. It's just so well acted, great cast. Rene Russo, Mel Gibson, and Gary Sinise leading the film. And then you have a bunch of supporting actors that are great actors. In fact,
Delroy Lindo.
Yeah, Delroy Lindo's in it. Nobody was ready for him at this point, but boy, when he was in Get Shorty, he became a star. That movie was, I don't know if you like Get Shorty, but I love Get Shorty. It's one of my favorite gangster films. Gangster trying to go straight.
What's the name of the movie again? Say it again. Detroit?
Get Shorty. Yeah, with John Travolta,
Danny DeVito,
Gene Hackman, Danny DeVito's in it too. Rene Russo again. This is the first film Rene and Delroy did together. And then they were together.
I'll have to look it up.
It is a great fucking film. Gene Hackman in it. He's called Harry Zim in the film, but he's clearly based on two great independent film directors, producers. Castle, I forget his first name, but he made a bunch of ghost, like the Hill House, The Haunting of Hill House. He did 13 Ghosts. That guy, Castle. And then, of course, Roger Corman. So Zim is kind of based on both those guys. Just a great film. One of my favorite Travolta films ever made. And I think it's his best performance of his career, playing Chili Palmer. And you also had a former cop in it, former Chicago cop, playing a gangster in it.
Oh, yeah. Tall, lanky guy, gray hair.
Mustache. He took over Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
And he's a former Chicago cop, and he's funny as hell. I just loved him. I'm so sorry we lost him. We lost him early. We should have had
Great. Hollywood has not called me yet, but I'm waiting.
Yeah, you see, you got to get a mustache.
Yeah, yes.
Well, now it's like it's so popular because of Peter in Deadpool, and now he's in another show called a cop show that I like watching called Bad Monkey, which is very fucking good show. And Peter is a bad guy, but we don't know how bad he is. If he's a good bad guy or a bad good.
Not yet.
No, but the guy has killed people.
It's the same mustache he wore in Deadpool. Big, thick Tom Selleck mustache. It's fucking great. I love seeing the comeback of thick mustaches. But so Ransom is a film that is a remake of a classic film with Glenn Ford. And I remember, because I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but I remember loving that film, and I watched it several times as a kid. Anytime it aired on TV, I'd watch it because I was a big Glenn Ford fan. Little did I know what a shitheel he was in real life. It broke my heart when I found out some of the stuff he's done in his life. Like, God damn, dude, how do you look at yourself in the mirror with some of the shit you did? But great actor, though. And Ron Howard optioned to do it and got the film along with his partners. It's the same, Brian Grazer, all those guys that he works with, all of his other films. And he got Mel Gibson was, I think, the first one to come on board with the production, and everything else just sort of fell in place. This is back when people wanted to be in movies with Mel Gibson. And you got Rene Russo, Delroy Lindo, Gary Sinise was just kind of coming up. You know, Saving Private Ryan, not Saving Private Ryan, I'm sorry, Forrest Gump had kind of made him into a star, even though I knew who he was, because he was in my favorite version of Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men with John Malkovich, because he and Malkovich were partners. They came up working the stages out of Chicago, and then got into film, and they both came up together. And Sinise is just an outstanding actor, and I've met him. I've worked for him, And I like the guy. I have a
Right.
great affinity for the guy because he's so pro soldier. You just don't find people like him in Hollywood. And he's playing the villain in this,
Yeah.
and he's done it before. Gary Sinise is very convincing and very good as villain, and in this one, he made sure not to tan. He looked very sickly, like a guy who never leaves his fucking room, and he had dark rings under his eyes, and he looked so unhealthy in this movie, but it really helped sell his character.
Yeah.
Oh, he was great in CSI New York. I love that show, despite
Yeah.
it being so fucking unrealistic. But I didn't care. People put way too much on CSI, forensics. Forensics
Oh.
do play a huge part, but they get dismissed so often and can be argued so often in court.
Oh my God!
And
If,
you
if
know
you
that.
wanted to do like a test on DNA, you're talking 3-4 months to get the results, and they do it, in 15 minutes. Oh, they just dug it
Instantaneously.
in, and all the stuff that they do, and because of a lack of capacity, depending on the crime, you may not even be able to use, scientific services is what we called it on the sheriff's department for your crime. You have to find other methods, witnesses or whatnot, modus operandi with other cases to link somebody to a crime, because
Right.
you won't, because CSI is homicides, rapes, child abuse. The major crimes are the ones they spend the money on. They won't do it for a burg generally, maybe fingerprints, but that's about it. So
Yeah, and as a cop, by the way, I'm curious if you knew the first organization to tackle child abuse in the United States. Do you know who it was?
oh God, I want to say it was the SPCA.
It was. Yeah,
Yeah,
you nailed
I'm
it.
a trivia guy, so yes.
Yeah, I love shit like that because they didn't know how to deal with this situation in the tenement apartments there in New York. They knew there was abuse going on. And so finally, the SPCA looked at it as cruelty to a dumb animal.
Hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
how they treated it, that a child is a dumb animal. So they protected him. It was a great case. And it really started the whole thing moving forward of child protective services. Was started from the SPCA. War Monkey's here. Hey, man, if you got to go to war, you want a war monkey because they're awesome.
We also have Gabi SPN13, and I think that's the first time I see that name.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Hi.
A new viewer.
Welcome.
Yeah, the reason I watched all but CSI Miami. I'm sorry, Mike. I cannot stand that guy.
David Caruso.
David Caruso fucking annoys the shit out of me. I tried watching it a couple times. It's like, God, his fucking acting is so bad. But I loved the original series because the gentleman that started that show is one of my favorite actors because he was in another great film that I know you've talked about, To Live and Die in L.A. Which is
I haven't done
one of
that
my
movie
favorite
yet.
films.
I want
Oh, I
to do
thought
that
you
one.
did.
I
Because
didn't
we're
know.
planning to do
It's
it
on my
too.
list, and I was looking to get a Secret Service agent on because that's about counterfeit money. If I can find somebody that is retired that would do that, that would be great. Because I like to line up the service
It's
that's
so
projected in the
interesting you
movie.
just brought that up because Dan Bongino is doing testimony
Yeah.
in front of a subcommittee this week, and he said because he's a former agent and trainer, this guy knows what he's fucking talking
Mhm.
about. So when he talks, you need to shut the hell up and just listen to what he's got to say. And he said they need to take counterfeit and money crimes away from Secret Service and put that to other groups. The service of the Secret Service should solely be on securing their primaries, and that's all.
They need to focus on their core competencies, and
Yeah.
and they didn't. The argument is they focus too much on DEI, and that's probably true, but they moved away from best practices that we learned after 9/11,
Well, when you've
which
got
is how they failed.
when you've got agents standing around their primary and they're almost 3 feet shorter than him,
Yeah, we have to
that's
stop.
DEI. That's
Yeah,
where you see the
okay.
DEI coming in because those women should not have been on that mission.
Well, the guy should have never been on the roof, and they would have avoided that, and that's poor planning. The fact that they
Well,
didn't have
first thing you learn, and Dan Bongino said this, Patrick, is that the first thing you learn in Secret Service is that your range is up to 1,000 meters.
Yeah.
Not 130.
Yeah.
That's inside the range you should be looking in. If those areas were not controlled by Secret Service, is an absolute catastrophic failure of the agency and its command.
They didn't have unified command. They didn't have interoperability. They didn't have clear delegation of responsibilities. There's a lot of things they failed on.
Yeah, they had
beyond the gal being 3 inches shorter than Trump, or whatever, 8 inches shorter than Trump, whatever.
Two women shorter
yeah,
than
I know.
him.
Yeah, I know. Because I worked with a lot of great women, so I have a hard time with that criticism. Because if they'd done everything else
The
right, we wouldn't
criticism
even be
is not
talking about
towards
it.
their abilities; it's towards their ability to protect. And
Yeah,
that one, because I like female cops for the most part, even though statistically there's more shootings with female cops than there are with male cops.
Well,
And I'm talking per
to
capita.
this reality, if you got the RAM, and that pick and ram is the tools used to break a door when you're going in, right? You don't put a female cop up there because the ram is pretty heavy. It's designed to knock the door down. So you got to have your biggest guy that can swing that damn thing on his own to knock it down. That's just the
Absolutely.
reality of it. And so you just pick and choose your team based upon the jobs that you're going to put them in, and then and you do that accordingly. And I think as a leader, when you say it that way, everybody understands. So
Yep. Well, it's like when I was in the military, I explained to some of the females I was training as medics, combat medics, that look, if you can't carry that person that's next to you who's a 200-pound fucking gorilla and drag them to safety, you don't need to be in that unit.
Yeah.
It's a simple rule. It's not I hate you, I don't like you. It doesn't mean you're not capable of doing your job as a medic to save somebody. But when you physically cannot carry somebody to safety because they're just too big and you're tiny, you don't need to be in there.
there's other missions.
And this goes for small men too, that don't have the upper body strength to be carrying people. It's like, why the fuck you want to be in an infantry unit? I want to fight. Well, part of the fight is also having to save the guy next to you. So
I want them on the arrest team. I might want them to be the designated shooter, because it's you know what I mean. If I'm
Dude,
dealing with somebody
some
who's
of
a
the best
bad
shooters
guy,
I've met were women.
it's just more consistent with what their capabilities are, and it certainly is a critical role. So it's not like you're cutting them out of a critical role. You're actually putting them in a role that's more conducive to their limitations. So
Right. But let's get into this one, because their limitations, exactly. So I wanted to talk to you about the main villain in this is a New York City police detective, but it's not to reflect on law enforcement, because law enforcement is shown as the good guys in this.
right.
They are working to try to save this kid and help this family. Both
He just turns out to be a
city
corrupt
police and the FBI are all working to try to save this kid. But you have a dastardly cop who has a grudge, who has he's a narcissist, and he's got a plan to finally get what he sees as what he deserves, his payday. And he's been screwed over, he thinks, and basically, blames the world, but more so blames this character who's got everything. So he wants to take his life. He wants to do everything. And he's a really despicable character. And you know as well as I do that with any and every organization in the world, you've got bad goods in there somewhere. You always do. And in law enforcement, you know that there's going to be some bad hombres and they're doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, criminal. The problem is how a cop could pull off a kidnapping like this. Today, I don't think this could happen.
Right.
And you said that before the show too. You said that this just couldn't happen. It's too easy to get caught. But we got to take our minds back to 1995 and how believable is a detective with a grudge who's a little bit crazy and a little bit dangerous. Do you think he could pull something like this off, working with a small team?
Well, there is some historical precedence to police kidnapping people for the mafia. You had the mafia cops. I forget the name of the two guys, and they later pulled it together by looking at their computer entries. They had primitive computers back then, but they could still see what they were looking at, who they were investigating it. I think Dippolito and they're two Italian guys, and they were working their major crime. They were supposed to be investigating the mafia, but in reality, they were working for I think the Lucchese crime family, and they did kidnap some folks they were looking for and deliver them to the mafia, who then promptly killed them. So it's and the three things that you're always warned about in law enforcement that will corrupt a guy or gal is they said it in the academy. It's booze, a pejorative term, broads, and bills. So money. Those are the three things that. And so
The three B's.
yeah, when somebody's struggling financially, suddenly everything becomes a little easier to do, right? And it's not like we don't have corruption. I think the crack epidemic pretty much laid that out. We had corruption throughout in Miami. We had corruption in my department, the LA County Sheriff's Department. We had corruption throughout, and we had, yeah, in New York, you had, I think it was the 53rd. There's a great documentary out about corruption. Michael O'Dowd, the very corrupt New York police officer, and how he started stealing and selling dope. And so the corruption does happen, but kidnapping and potentially murder, that's pretty rare. I think in New York, like I said, the two mafia cops are one good example. I can't think of another example, but there's another New York cop, and this was back at the turn of the last century. I think it was Lieutenant Becker, who was working for some corrupt mafia guys, and I think he did some contract killing too, and he was actually executed. He was the only New York City police officer that was executed for. So these things do happen, but the reason why they're so sensational is they're actually
You and I
rare.
talked about that recently. I remember you and I talking about that execution.
Yeah. So it's pretty rare, and that's why it's for this kind of violence with police officers. That's why it's so sensational. But it makes for good movies to suggest that. I mean, the Bad Lieutenant, which we talked about with Harvey Keitel, I got to do that show yet, and trust me, that wouldn't last long in a major, in a major municipal agency. Things would get discovered, and particularly when you start going up the ranks like lieutenant, as I found out, I got more knife wounds in my back from the internal politics on the department to get you out of the way so they can get somebody else and get the promotion.
Yeah, there's always somebody else that wants that job.
Yeah, so if they see that you're going down the wrong path, then trust me, they're going to report you. There's no, particularly if you're going up the ranks, you might have a little bit more deference. Line officers may not report you, but if you're going up the ranks and you're corrupt, you'll get somebody will call. The line officers will call on you, let alone your peers.
So these mafia
So
cops,
where do we?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, how did they get involved, the real cops, with the mafia?
Well, they like a lot of Italians, they grew up in an Italian neighborhood, and it's rife with guys in the game, right? The guys who are part of the Cosa Nostra, and they got relatives in it. I think in the one case they did actually have relatives, and I think one of them was a boss or sub boss. And so they had those relationships with those folks from just growing up in the neighborhood, and that's not unusual. You saw that with Whitey Bulger and the FBI agent that was corrupted over there. They grew up in the same neighborhood, Irish neighborhood. They knew each other, went to the same church, and so those relationships develop. And and you actually, if you watch Prince in the City, he had a cousin who was in the mafia, and it was cousin. That's based on a true story. His cousin vouched for him. That's the only reason he wasn't murdered by some other corrupt guys. So that's how it happens. They have a relationship growing up, and those bonds extend into these guys allowing themselves to be corrupted by their friends and their family.
Often it starts by the mafia having something on them and forcing them to get into it.
No, not in this case. They did not. They sold their badges basically because of personal relationship and money. And once you get in, it sounded to me as I read up on the story that they were pushed further and further to keep doing stuff. Because once you get corrupted, you're going to get pushed further and further. If you actually get a chance to watch the documentary about Michael Dowd, that's what happened. He started a little bit, and with corruption, that's how it goes: a little bit, and then a little bit more, and a little more, and a little more, and sometimes then you begin to lose sense of how far you've gone. Right? It just sneaks up on, and some of these guys start using too. They like Michael Dowd started using his product, and so he went down the wrong path there. But he spent a lot of time in federal prison, and eventually they didn't get those 2 Italian guys till 15, 20 years later, and they put them in prison. They were old men by the time they were able to build a case on the mafia cops.
They've been doing it for a long time. Wow.
Yeah, they retired. I think they started suspecting them, and then they retired. They had their time in, and they left. And one of them actually got it. He was an extra in movies. He wrote some scripts, so he had connection to Hollywood. The other one went on to be a corrections officer in Nevada, I think, and then retired. And then they both got prosecuted. So it's real that people get corrupted. Kidnapping some folks, other than the mafia cops, this is the only time I've ever heard it. At least in the modern era, you know what I mean?
And in this one, because it's pointed out later in the film when he takes the ransom money and turns it into a bounty on this guy. Yeah. And he says, do you think there's anybody out there that might like to collect that money on your head? Might know what you're doing, who you are?
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
if it's clearly laid out that you're the guy who did it, absolutely, absolutely. Trust me, if you go corrupt, everybody's gonna be coming after you. Because one of the things in law enforcement is like anything else, getting the big arrest. That's a career-making arrest, and that stuff does happen. Sometimes colors people's perception of whether the probable cause is really there or the evidence is really there. But yeah, making that big game hunting is not an unusual thing for locals and the FBI, right? It goes all the way up the ranks. Can I get a case-making career? I mean, I never really worried about that. I just focused on what my core mission was, and that's keep the community safe. If I made a big case, well, okay, well, whatever. That
just was a perk that went along with the job. I get that, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now the kidnapping in this takes place during the day, and that's what's happening here. There at the park. You might recognize this fountain. This is the same fountain from John Wick that they show, and a couple times in the film. And it's a famous location, Central Park, and the kidnapping takes place when the place is bustling. And so at first there's confusion all over the place. So it's prime picking. And the main character in this, Mel Gibson, is a rich guy. I would not describe him as a Trump-like character. I'm trying to think of who I would compare him to. It's just, I can't think of anybody to compare him to. But he's a rich dude, made a lot of money, but he had some shenanigans go on, and he got in trouble, and he got away with it. But the fact is he actually did it.
Right.
And that's something that's part of the plot, is that, Sinise's character doesn't like him because he got away with it. And he thinks that makes it okay to do what he's doing.
Yeah, I think I worked in some areas like adjacent to Beverly Hills is where West Hollywood's at. So you get a lot of those wealthy people, and they do kind of have an attitude when you pull them over. I mean, I'll be blunt. We were told to write more tickets. I hated writing tickets, so I was at the stop sign. Guy blows through it. He's driving an expensive car, and he yells at me. He's from Beverly Hills. You just pulled me over because I'm rich. Yeah, like that's what I'm going to spend my time doing. I just wanted to get my 2 tickets and go chase burglars, right? But you run into those guys, and rich people do have a lot of them, not all of them. Now, let me put it this way: a large minority have this expectation that they're above the law, and I don't know how many times I got that. Do you know who I am?
I pay my taxes. I pay for your job.
Well, I'd get do you know who I am? I says, yeah, you're the guy going to jail. You're the guy getting a ticket. That's who you are. So,
yeah,
but, so it never bothered me.
Love your show. Here's your ticket.
Well, yeah, that's the way God, you need to treat them like everybody else. That's the way I always was, because, you get yourself subject for criticism otherwise. But yeah, there was a lot of people who, they expected you. Yeah, and I saw it with some of the guys I worked with. They would treat stars and other people much more deferentially, even if they were doing bad stuff. And I'm like, no, just treat everybody the same. That way you can't get in trouble. And they understand. when you get pulled over, just do what you're supposed to do. But I can see where there can be resentment. In New York, they for a long time their wages were a lot lower, and so I can see where the frustration of not having enough money to make the bills could lead you to that. In LA, I always felt I had a pretty good wage, and good wages for law enforcement helps to stem corruption. So
Exactly. You got to make sure your law enforcement officers, especially the ones out, not the ones at the desk, the ones that are out there doing the dangerous, are getting paid that pay rate for doing a job that's technically dangerous, because you never know when a situation's going to turn bloody.
yeah,
I think that part of my problem today, because discipline is so important, and I think that too often I see videos, the body cam video where it's like, this is a cop here, I'm watching him, that lacks discipline and understanding of constitutional law.
yeah.
And you run into this all the time, and you get these negative ones, and I don't subscribe to the negative videos like, you need to confront cops. It's like, look, no, what you need to do is be compliant as much as possible. You need to be compliant. But the fact is, there's nothing more annoying than when a police officer, and I trust cops. I always have. I always will. But I've never run into the situation myself, because I've always been treated very fairly by law enforcement officers in my life, very fairly.
When
And
I was
so,
when I was working, we had case law right in our trunk. So we had a book that was called, I forget the name of the book, but it would explain case law, and it would be updated based because law changes. So, and here's part of the problem. So if a cop doesn't really know the law, it might be partly because the agency is not keeping them up to speed. We
up to
were all
speed.
challenged to educate ourselves and understand the changes in the laws, and I did. It's called the California Legal Resource Book, right? Is what we used to do. And as I went on my career, I noticed that we moved away from making sure, like I said, you heard me talk about before the show, you have to focus on core competencies. Instead, we're focused on so many other things that aren't necessarily core to our business, right? And I think that's a problem. And that's what I saw with the Secret Service people. Did they focus on their core competencies? That's what I see with the FBI. The FBI used to be big on chasing crooks. Now they're just intelligence gathering, and I think that's a
Watch.
mistake.
I got to tell you, buddy, you need to watch that Dan Bongino testimony, the entire thing,
Yeah, I
because
saw parts of it.
you
I
are
will.
so you okay, because that's what he was going after. He's going after. He says they're being used in a way that
Yeah.
isn't goal oriented towards their core competencies, and they've
I
got
think
them doing things. It's not their job.
Well, I think with the FBI in particular too, they're losing the faith of the populace because they moved away from doing those things. Like I had federal marshals on my show, and it was shortly after two federal marshals were killed, or one federal marshal was killed, and three locals who were on a warrant team with them were killed. And I brought a federal marshal on, and let's say, hey, let's talk about what you actually do to keep the community safe. And this was their warrant squad, and because most
Right.
people don't know it, and to be quite frank, the FBI has moved away from a lot of that, and I think they need to re-engage, going after the bank robbers and going after the people that are destroying the quality of life for people in their communities to rebuild that trust, right? Because as soon as you get that disconnection, you also lose sense of what am I doing? I'm gathering information on people who are actually doing what they can legally do under the Constitution, but we're suspicious of them. How about we focus on the criminals? Because here's the thing: most people who are engaged in terrorism or other things are also criminals. If you focus on the criminals, you're likely to run across those guys. But hey,
Yeah,
that's so. I hope that answers your question. But
it
in
did.
terms of
It did.
the the thing about this movie is corruption in law enforcement is so low. That's why it's so sensational when something real happens. And I can
Well,
certainly
as
understand
I've
in the
told people,
movies.
majority of the cops you meet are going to be good cops. A
Yeah,
majority. It's just that you've always going to have that between 1% and 5%
yeah,
that are going to be
well,
a
yeah,
problem. But it is a small percentage. My problem is people tend to exaggerate and make it sound like it's the entire body. And
yeah,
one of the worst ones I hear is like they're protecting these guys. And police, I said, no, trust me. If you've got
yeah.
good cops, they're not protecting those guys. They would absolutely get rid of them if they could, if they knew it. The thing is,
Well,
these guys are sneaky.
I'll leave you with this last thought. Now, I guess I get ready for my show briefing with the chief. There's a report that is done every 2 years, and it shows how many interactions cops have with people, regardless of the context, whether a victim, a witness, or a suspect. And then they look at how often cops use force, and they measure it. It's 2% of the times of the people that cops come in contact, they use force. And to me, that's kind of high. Every 2 people out of 100. And then I looked at the federal government's definition of force, and their definition of force is, well, if you handcuffed them, if you pointed your gun at them and made a threat, and which then expands the numbers rapidly. When you cut that stuff out, the incidence of actual force, where you put hands on somebody and force them to do something, is so incredibly low. Because think about it. I mean, just think about the stupid definition. You got a child predator, he's assaulted somebody, and you chase him down and you handcuff him with no force, no resistance. That's still considered force in the eyes of the federal government. You got a bank robber who pulls over and he's got a gun in the car. You point the gun at him and say, hey, if you go for the gun, I'm going to shoot you. You get him out and there's no problem. That's still considered force. So it inflates the number, right? So if you actually pull up that report, you'll see that the incidence of force, actual force, is so incredibly low, but you wouldn't know that by watching social media and the news. So, but I got to go.
All right, guys, I want to appreciate you dropping in, Patrick. Remember, he does Morning Coffee with the Chief every Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. Plus, I just shared it out in the chat. If you're interested in what the Chief is saying, he does his show over on KGRA. I just shared the link where you can go check that show out and you can subscribe to it and watch his show. It's good stuff, man. Thanks a lot for dropping in, Chief. I appreciate it, man.
All right, guys, take care. Have a good show.
See you, Patrick.
Bye, Chief.
Good man. One of my favorite people. I love having
By the way,
conversations with him. I really do.
we have another new viewer. It's Tony the Tiger. It is his first message. So,
Welcome to the club, mister. By the way, I see Bumpy is out here again. Good to see you, Bumpy. And those of you who don't know, Bumpy Johnson was the king of Harlem. He was a very dangerous, but a man of the community gangster. And he was featured in such stories as the Cotton Club. And there was another one. Because it's funny. Lawrence, what's his name? Fishburne played a version of him in Cotton Club, and then they did a gangster movie where he played Bumpy Johnson again. So we got to play him basically twice. Very fascinating character. Well, American Gangster deals with him. Yeah. Hoodlum. That's the one right there. With Tim Roth. That is I like that film. I'm not going to say it's a great film. I think it's a good film, and I like the film. And Lawrence Fishburne played Bumpy Johnson again in the film. And he played a version of Bumpy Johnson in Cotton Club. So let's see. Yeah, you guys know I love Patrick. I just love talking to him. And so he'll be doing his show in a little bit. We'll be off the air, so you can go watch him. I won't. But I can't dump you guys over there because it's over on KGRA. You got to watch them on either Rumble or on the app. What the fuck is Tim talking about with Lawrence Welk? What? That was Lawrence Welk. What? I don't know what you're talking about, Tim.
no,
by the way,
I don't know
Cal's
what he's
here.
talking.
He called him McLeod. Goodbye, McLeod. So let's see who else is here. We got Tony the Tiger is new to the show. I saw Ariel Bellette is here. It's good to see you. Of course, Snortapoopus is hello, Snortapoopus. And let's see. I'll make sure Dragon Ruse is here. Cam's here. Sure I don't miss anybody. Gab SPN13 is new. Welcome to the show, Gabby.
Gabby.
Gabby SPN. Okay.
Did you mention King Spot, Cal?
Yes, I said hi, Cal.
Okay. Okay.
And
Hi,
hey,
TT.
Tickle Truck is not here.
Hi, TT.
He tells me that he's sometimes just listening, not interacting.
He is the community's biggest lurker, that one.
Yeah.
He's always
And
there. He just doesn't let you know.
I'm not going to talk directly about it, but I am going to bring up. Look, man, there's some hot air going on Twitter today that I'm not going to play a part of. I'm not going to be pulled into it. I had private conversations with certain people today, and I said it's clear. Stop doing that in public. It's unprofessional, and I consider it very petty to go after one another on Twitter publicly. If you've got a problem or a beef with somebody, and I know there are thousands of us in this community, we're not all going to like each other. I've got people I know that hate my fucking guts. I don't worry about it. You'll never see me fret over it. I've had people try to cancel me. I've had people go after me on Twitter and YouTube both at the same time, attacking me. And you'll never see anything about it in the public posts. I don't give a shit. I don't care if people don't like me. I really don't. I do enjoy it when people do like me because I feel like I made a connection. But if I don't, I just go, well, sometimes you don't. You win some, you lose some. Oh well, I don't worry about it. If anybody says shit to me, I just move on, let them eat static. I don't care. What they think of me doesn't matter to me. What the people in my inner circle think of me and what I think of me, it's the only thing that matters. That's where everybody should be. You shouldn't let other people pull you into it. And this friend of mine got pulled into it, allowed himself to be pulled into it. And I told him in a very public group, private group, but where people could see, I said, you need to stop it. Stop interacting. Don't do it. And of course, I ended up having to block that other person because I think that what they're doing is pervasively negative. And that's one thing that we won't tolerate here at Pop Culture Minefield is people being pervasively negative. It's not healthy. Why would you want to be that way? Why would you want to say nasty things about people in public? People who are driven to say those things for no good fucking reason. Nothing that they're talking about affected them. They're just doing it. They're negatively talking. That's a form of gossip. It's a very negative thing to do to gossip. And I won't partake in it. And Keith and I had a long talk about this a long time ago. We talked again today that this shit is not tolerated by us. We won't tolerate or be a part of gossip mongering, talking shit about another person within the community. The only way a
Just
community
to get
can stay
attention,
together
too.
is,
That's
and
the
it
only
is,
thing.
it's not just attention. I brought this up before. This is also about validation. And when you have to do negative things to get validation, I question your validity. You know, it's like I just think it's a horrible thing to partake in. And that's all I got to say on that subject. Because some of you know what I'm talking about, and some of you don't. And I won't partake in it. And I won't go negative on anybody that I'm associated with, not publicly. I've criticized people privately to their face, and that's a simple rule you should live by, especially if you're a man in particular. It's so unmanly to talk behind another person's back or to talk negatively about them publicly. It's take it to the person, you know. And if you're not going to get along, just walk away from each other. Cut connection. You don't have to do anything else. It's ridiculous. Well, that's it. It is. Narcissism plays a huge part in that tickle truck. And when I see that kind of behavior from anybody in our community, I cut ties with them. I don't want to be a part of them because I consider that narcissist or narcissistic. You know, it's just wrong, and I won't be a party to it, and nor will I be a party of going after that person publicly. I think that's wrong too. It's equally wrong. It's sort of like how we find people in our community who are against cancel culture until it's their turn and they want to go after somebody and cancel them. And I'm like, well, either you're against cancel culture or you're not. Nipple towers. Yes. Now all I'm thinking about is nipples. Thanks, Ariel.
Hmm.
So, getting back to this movie, what I love about this film is this is really Mel Gibson in his prime, 90 to 98 was really prime for Mel Gibson. He was a star. And one of my favorite films of his, I think, was made in '89. So I bring that into it, is when he played Hamlet in Franco Zeffirelli's Hamlet. And I do consider it one of the better Hamlet films, despite cutting a majority of the story out of the film. Stuck to the core story. The most important story is what's happening with Hamlet and the murder of his father. There's Delroy Lindo. Yeah, he's good in this film. And Delroy sort of came out of nowhere, because he did the film the year before. He did the film Get Shorty. And then all of a sudden he was in everything. He did that film, he did this film, and he did Heist with Gene Hackman, his second film with Gene Hackman, and delivered one of my favorite lines. Oh, by the way, point that out, Martin, who that is that he's hassling here in this scene.
Okay, let me bring up a still. Oh my goodness. Here, this guy at the right side of your screen, that's the very young version of a character we have seen. Well, a character, no, an actor we have seen in Bad Monkey. He's a
He is his partner.
his partner.
His name is Juan Ortiz. John Ortiz. And he plays Rogello, his former cop partner in the show. But Gary Sinise, one thing he did, look at it. See the dark rings under his eye. He was very pale. He avoided the sun for this character and really wanted to enhance the darkness under his eyes to make it look like a guy who doesn't sleep much, has sleeping problems. He's neurotic. And I suspect they don't show it in the film, but I suspect he's a drug abuser too. I suspect his preferred drug of choice is cocaine. Because this guy's high energy and neurotic as hell. So he's a dirty cop who's got a grudge. Yes, absolutely. I think it's really between 89 and 97 were his best years. Don't get me wrong, Lethal Weapon was 87. But I'm going to go back that far. 87 through 97 were his prime years, the decade. That was the Mel Gibson decade. And then he started focusing more on behind the camera stuff. Hey, Penny. Hey, Mike Ortega's here. Yes, he's the one who said that. Yeah, absolutely. Prime Mel Gibson. This is when he had some weight in Hollywood for his movies as an actor. So he's involved with a young lady played by Lily Tyler. She is really good in this. I'm not sure. I think she was still dating John Cryer when she made this.
Wait,
not John Cryer, John Cusack.
Oh, well, there is not much improvement from one to another.
Well, I like John Cryer more than I like John Cusack. I like John Cusack's movies all the way up to where he owns the record store. That one and the Hitman movie he made that was funny, which we should do. We should do that film. I like that film. But Cusack's talent got overrun by his ego and his insanity. Absolutely.
Indeed.
TDS is a form of mental illness. It really is. So, but I'm not going to get into the politics. I'm just going to get into it. Shows people to show their ugly side publicly, and that's embarrassing.
We need to run 2 videos today. One would be,
it's hopeless. We'll never make it. Never.
That's Shinatsky.
for good friend Shinatsky, and the other one for Tim.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me No, now go away or I shall taunt you a second time.
Icky, mumbles off. 14 was the last thing I liked of his. And look, don't get me wrong. I did enjoy that film, but I didn't think it was anything to write home about. I was told recently to go back and watch the film again and just see just how creepy it was. And I get it. I've seen it. It's a good film. I just I don't consider that some of the best Cusack work. I don't.
Yeah, the rewatchability is not that high for that movie.
The one thing I do want to point about Gibson's character is he is guilty of the crime that they're using against him. He actually did do what they said he did. And he has to come clean about it by the end of the film. And he really does. And I like that he does come clean of his own volition. Yes, I did do that. I paid to cover up something that I did. And it finally makes him a human character, a good guy.
Yeah, I think he paid to break a strike. A strike that could have bankrupt his business.
Which is part of the thing about the ransom.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know he used that money. So.
Yeah, the kidnapper, his position is you pay for everything. You pay your way out of trouble. So I knew you were a good target because you're gonna pay.
So here he is. He's talking. They use a voice modulator on it.
Look.
And those of you who don't recognize him, he was Duchovny's best friend on the show Californication. Anybody here see that show?
No, I didn't see
Californication. I just heard dead silence. You also have another actor in this film that was in the early stages of his career. I love
Donnie Wahlberg.
Liev Schreiber.
Oh yeah.
And Donnie is in this, but
yes,
Liev is just a great actor.
Donnie plays Liev's younger brother.
Yep. And they're the ones working for Gary Sinise in this film. He's built this little team. There's Donnie, because Donnie doesn't like what's going on here. He doesn't like the way this is being handled. And he starts to understand that they intend to kill the kid. And he goes, I'm not going to be a part of that. So he's going to be a problem later for the main villain, Gary Sinise. You got some great stuff. You got Mel Gibson, Rene Russo, Gary Sinise, Nick Nolte's kid, Brawley, Delroy Lindo, Lily Taylor, Donnie Wahlberg, Liev Schreiber, Even Handler. Even Handler is the bald guy that's doing the tech stuff for him. And that's a great cast right there. And then you got some minor cast in here with Paul Guilfoyle. People who love CSI, the original series, the one in Vegas, know him. He's the cop from that show, the detective, the lead detective. Then you got John Ortiz that's in this. We know him from other things, including The Wire. But he's, he plays a little thug in this. He was younger, had no gray in his hair at the time. And I'm looking to see if there are any other actors of merit in here. And I'm not really seeing anybody else. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yep.
To be honest.
But it's a good cast, no matter what. And Renee is so good in this film. And of course, she was already done a film with Delroy Lindo and a film with Mel Gibson before, called
Yes,
Lethal
Little
Weapon
Weapon.
3. He played IA, right? Internal Affairs?
Yes,
Character?
they got involved at the end of the movie, and in the fourth, they are married and have a kid. And
Yeah. I didn't like the fourth film very much, but I did enjoy it. I just thought it was just not very well written. The villain was ridiculous, Jet Li.
good fight.
Sorry. Nick's just decided to visit me, the cat. Hello. He's slowly walking up here trying to get my attention. No, don't come over here. I'm doing a show right now.
You have a question?
Oh, I wouldn't mind watching it. The movie was a shit show when you find out all the stuff that went on behind the scenes there. The two leads didn't like each other, didn't get along. Ford and what's his name? The dude from Black Hawk Down. Um,
That is again. We couldn't hear you. Oh my God! Little Weapon 5. They were already too old for that shit.
yeah, it's like, and I'm actually happy that Mel Gibson is directing because he was good friends with the director despite their political differences. They understood and liked each other very much. And so I believe that Mel Gibson might actually do a better job with the film.
Wow, Aisling. Wow. If I
What?
understand, I think she's saying the plotline from Ransom is a shit show.
It's not.
No, it's simple plot line. I don't like overly indulgent plots. I like stories, and this is a story. So Hollywood Homicide had so many problems. It's Josh Hartnett was his name, who's got a big movie coming out right now that I don't think looks very good. I had a chance to watch TS copy, and I'm just not interested in it. By M. Night Shyamalan, Trap, I think is the name of it, and it just I'm kind of tired of the flip at the end. This whole time it was actually this that you were watching. It's like, all right, I'm done with that. That's like the mystery box. Stop using the same plot devices. And that's all a plot is. A plot is a device, and it gets old. That's what I've heard, Gabby. I've heard this pretty bad. Um, M. Night Shyamalan is being self-indulgent with his films. He's financing these himself. He's got some hit and misses. I enjoyed the one with the trip to grandma and grandpa's house, only to find out because they'd never met grandma and grandpa before that's not grandma and grandpa. They're two psychopaths, and that shit was crazy, dude. I enjoyed the crap out of that movie, and I enjoyed Splinter, but the sequel to it that was also a sequel to um, Unbreakable was terrible. Terrible
I like
ending.
it.
It was a weak ending. That each of them was killed by the thing that they're fuck off with that stuff. Plot. Plot, 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 plot. It's all plot, 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 plot instead of telling a story. He pays handsome and extra really like the plot line. Might be only person who liked it. The end. Well, I'm going to bet money, Gabby, that it's a twist ending. Because that's M. Night Shyamalan's fucking thing. Let's look, man. I loved Rod Serling too, but even Rod Serling didn't do that with every fucking story. So Fine Girl.
Don't
What
know
was
what movie is this.
Fine Girl one? For some reason, hold on. Let me go look it up. Fine Girl. Watchers. I've not watched that one. I've not seen it. I think that's the one she's talking about.
It's called
Crap.
Watchers, and it's about a blind girl. That's bad already.
It's ironic. They're being ironic with the title. That I think that might be it. Split was really good. Unbreakable, really good. Knock at the Cabin was fucking dumb. The original story was better than the fucking shit movie. The Sixth Sense, I love that one. But I don't know, man. He just sort of lost his ability. Old was just fucking weird. Like when you make a movie today,
I think Avatar
You-
broke him.
you know, that's just
Yeah.
a higher job. There was a job he had to do, and I thought he did okay with it. He did what you could do with it. You know, you're taking something that took hours to tell originally, and you're trying to truncate it down into one film. It's not going to work. It's not his fault.
I'm not saying that it's his fault. I'm saying that the experience of having to do that broke him.
You think?
Yeah.
I also like Signs, by the way. I really am a fan of Signs. I didn't like After Earth. I thought it was stupid. I did enjoy Lady in the Water. My daughter loves it more than I do. The Happening was just one of the dumbest fucking things I ever saw. Just stupid. He's early on. He had better stuff. Glass was a terrible movie. The Village was ridiculous, or as a friend of mine said, redonkulous. So, but anyway, back to this. So Gibson is, he's wanting to pay this guy, but there's one thing missing in this that absolutely is required, and they use it as a device in the film that is the one mistake in the storytelling, which is if you kidnap somebody, you have to give proof of life. And it's insane. Like, why would you pay somebody that's not giving you proof of life? You wouldn't. You'd want proof of life.
Absolutely. Especially when it's about that much money.
Oh, Eastland. Oh, please. Please don't bring that movie up. First of all, the book
That-
was awful.
That bad.
Pure
Huh?
Scientology garbage. And I'm going to tell you something about L. Ron Hubbard. He was a terrible, terrible writer of science fiction. I loved it when, what author was it? It was a famous author, science fiction author, punched him in the mouth when they had a lunch meeting, punched him in the restaurant and said, and you also suck at science fiction, and walked away from him. Like, he was pissed at him because, he called him out. You're a con man. You're a con man. And you're not even smart at that. And on top of it, your science fiction sucks. And never talked to him again. And I keep thinking it was the guy that wrote City on the Edge of Forever that did that. Yeah, if you kidnap somebody, to be expected to give proof of life. It's something that every kidnapper is aware of when they do it, because they're doing it for financial gain or for control. Now, sending a finger is not proof of life.
No. That could be a finger from a corpse.
Yeah, the person.
Sending a finger is proof that you have the person. It's not proof
Yeah.
of life.
Ditto, Eastland. I am a fan of 80s dystopian films. So this is where he goes to drop the ransom off, and he's going to give it to Donnie Wahlberg's character, and he asked that question that he had talked to the kidnapper over the phone with,
Well,
and
he
when
was
he
told
asked,
in exchange for the money, he will get the address where I can find the kid.
yeah, where I can pick him up, and he looks at him, and he goes, "What are you talking about? Address?" That is the moment when Gibson's character knows they're going to murder his son. They have no
Yep.
intention of releasing his kid.
But what he's not picking up in that moment, though, is that the person who is standing in front of him is not the one he was talking on the phone with. He doesn't realize
like
that because he's
Ariel's
too much
comment's funny
into-
here. Read that.
See, Ariel, that's why we miss you when you're not here. Fucked up comments like that. We need that. We need you in chat.
Now, I may be wrong, but it's a personal opinion about this movie, which I love, by the way. But I think they shouldn't have tell the audience from an early point that they wanted to kill the kid, because then you side from the beginning and completely with the father's character, and for you the audience never feel the, is this the correct move to do?
It's not all of them, though. The group is split about killing the boy, so.
Well,
Harlan
only
Ellison-
one person doesn't want to kill the boy. Only one. That is not a
Harlan
big
Ellison,
split.
according to what I read, is the one that punched the head of Dianetics, the writer of Dianetics and the head of Scientology. And look, that film got how many Razzie? I think it got 8 Razzie Awards.
Ouch.
Battlefield Earth, and it earned every single one of those Razzies.
That's a burn.
So look, Eastland, all of us every once in a while like something that's just crappy.
Guilty
I like
pleasure.
Scrapple.
That's okay.
I love Scrapple. Most people don't know what that fucking is. I've eaten it and I loved it. I grew up on that shit because I was poor. Scrapple is an inexpensive pork product that is like hash but made with pork products. And it's fried, it's cut into little strips and fried. And it's something you find in the country. It started in, well, Pennsylvania Dutch territory. The Dutch started it there in Pennsylvania, and it's still very popular in Pennsylvania, but I can't find it anywhere anymore. But we used to eat it in Virginia all the time. I enjoyed 98, but I didn't think it was very good. I enjoyed bits of it. First of all, Jean Reno's in it. I'll watch anything with Jean Reno.
I think if you can cut out the scene in which they are trapped in the mouth of the creature, that would improve the movie.
Well, I my favorite part of the movie is the Jurassic Park part, where the eggs hatch, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the crap out of it. I thought it was silly as hell, but I enjoyed it. It just wasn't Godzilla to me. It didn't look like Godzilla. Oh, there he is, Liev Schreiber. My God, look how young he is there, kid. That guy would go on to play Sabretooth in the Origins, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
I thought he was good.
He as Sabretooth? Yes, he was good.
He was, and what I loved about him, they gave him a bodysuit to wear, and he says, "Fuck that, give me 6 months." And he bulked up and worked out with Hugh Jackman to jack off with him. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well,
Yeah, I
he's
love Ray
someone I
Donovan.
would turn to for bulking out because Hugh Jackman is still doing.
Well,
it
he's
at
the one
his
who
age.
advised him first.
Yeah.
He says, cut this out, eat a lot of this, and he gave him the diet how to bulk up, and then he just started working out with him every day.
I mean, look at how good the dude looks, and he's not in his 30s anymore. He knows how to do this. And it's great that he's advising others too.
Yeah, I was hanging out with the guys on Toxic Tuesday, and that got brought up during Toxic Tuesday that you look at like some of these actors, Gregory Peck, I won't bring up Heston because Heston took care of himself, but some of those actors, like when they hit their late 50s, look like crap. And then you like look at Hugh Jackman, it's like, Jesus Christ, man. the quality of self-care by actors today is so much better.
Discipline.
It is discipline. And by the way, my favorite gag in the Deadpool Wolverine film, joke in the film, is when Hugh Jackman, he's saying that Hugh Jackman's a little out of shape. He's like, he just went through that crappy divorce. He kind of shit on Hugh Jackman in the movie too. Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine. That was fucking great. Kind of let himself go.
Well, they are great friends in real life, so.
They're best friends. And
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman has absolutely said that. He goes, oh, he's my best friend. And they've known each other for years. People don't realize there was a Deadpool movie, or he was Deadpool in the X-Men film.
Yep.
And they became friends right then and there.
That movie is what started everything because Ryan Reynolds, he said
He
to
wanted
himself,
it because he felt like he understood that character.
yeah, but he was dead set in redeeming what had been done to Deadpool in that movie.
Look, Ariel, if that's how you're doing it, you're just basically raising their kid for them. That's just not good economics. So Gary Sinise at this point is starting to feel the tightening on his plans. And his
And
own team is turning against him.
And the worst
And
is yet to come.
even his girlfriend has problems with his plans. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
The girlfriend is a difficult character because the bad cop, he rescued her from her dad, who was an abusive person. So she owes him. And he also pretends to love her, which in the end turns out he doesn't, because he doesn't care.
I
about her
think
at
he,
all.
in his own way, does, because when he
does,
shoots
yeah,
her,
but
when he turns and shoots her, it was out of reaction. And then when he realizes that he shot her and it was her that shot him, there's this look on his face that is the most human look he gives during the entire film.
yes,
Yes,
and
he
when things
was.
get serious, all that counts for him is saving himself, is what I'm saying.
Well,
Well, in the end,
she's shooting him.
Yeah, because she's done with all the bad. And she's
Exactly,
finally realizing
but,
that she's not dependent on him, which he makes her believe all the time. That she can have a good life with him. It's a bit like, I don't know, being brainwashed. I guess.
No, I don't think she was a very good person to begin with. She was on board from the beginning with killing the kid.
Because that's the easy
I
way out.
don't know if
and
she
that's
was
what
on
wants.
board.
Oh,
I
yes,
think
she was.
She was.
She wants to end it, and if that's the fastest way, she's okay with it.
Yeah, she's okay with it if it is absolutely what you have to do. I don't
No,
think.
no.
If you
Yes,
ask her, I
because
don't
she
think she
wants
would
it
want
to
to kill him.
end. She wants out of the whole situation.
Okay. Just remember this. When Donnie Wolver, he's feeding him chocolate because he doesn't know that they are going to kill the kid. She's the one who brings him to reason. And she's the one who makes him understand we're killing this kid.
Two of the main characters that he's working with in this gang One played by Donnie Wahlberg, and the other one, what is his name again? Evan Handler, the bald guy. Or wait, no, not him. Hold on. Which one is it? It's
there's another.
it's Lily Taylor, and Donnie Wahlberg are both tweakers. I think Leo Schreiber partakes in drugs, but I think his brother is the drug addict, and I think that Lily Taylor's character also uses drugs, and clearly, fucking Gary Sinise's character is a cokehead. Because that guy looks so fucking unhealthy as a cop.
Yeah. He looks
There's
like
something wrong with him. Well, thanks, Cam. I appreciate it.
Ariel concurs in the cocaine thing.
Yeah. As Rick James would say, cocaine's a hell of a drug. Well, yeah, the closer you get to the act, the more you see her having problems with it. But at the same time, she wants the fuck out. She wants to get going. She doesn't like doing this.
I think it's
And
just becoming more real the closer it comes to that event. She's just realizing
and then
it's
she's
really
seeing
going to happen. It's bad.
she's seeing the resistance of the other characters too, and that's having an effect on her.
Wait, there's a moment in the movie in which she and Liev Schreiber take the kid. They go to the woods, dig the grave in which they are going to put the kid and shoot him in place. In fact, she almost killed the kid. She couldn't kill him because Gary Sinise stopped her. Don't stop defending that bitch.
I'm not defending her.
Neither am I.
I don't know how you see that as defending her. I'm just saying it's not as clear cut as what you're saying.
Yeah, because there's a difference between the bad cop who never intended to let that kid live.
I don't know.
her-
She
Let me talk.
loaded the gun.
Yeah, because
Okay.
she thinks, okay, this is the only way we could do it. He, on the other hand, he never intended anything else. He never intended to let the boy live. She still had the option, at least. She was like, yeah, if we don't have to do it, I would prefer that. But if it's the only way out, we have to do it. But there's a world of a difference there, Martin.
Well, at this point, the only person he had trusted to a certain point was his wife. But even she, by not trusting him, caused him to stop trusting her. And he had to keep her out of what he's going to do. But the scariest part of this is, and you got to understand her character, all she wants is her son back. And she's one of those people that will go to any length, pay any amount to do it. But she's gullible. Whereas he, on the other hand, understands these characters, this character he's dealing with. And he's like, you got to understand, we're dealing with something you don't get. And if we do it your way, he's going to kill our son. And she just doesn't understand that. And the FBI agents are just trying to do it by the book.
The moment
So
he turns it around and makes the money
he's
a ransom,
completely-
he's lost her. Because
Yeah,
she
once
cannot go on.
Yep. And so he is now completely and utterly alone in doing what he has to do. Nobody is on his side. They'll say, Delroy Lindo even says, I'm on your side. He is not on his side. He is on the FBI's side.
He's just going against everything advised in a kidnapping. And he's going through with it. So nobody can even get through to him anymore at that point.
The most
He's a
ridiculous
solo
part of
fighter.
this is why they even bother like tying him up in another room and blindfolding him when they
When they're
intend
going
to kill him
him,
anyway.
yeah.
That was another weird part of the film. Like, why are they bothering doing that?
That as a victim, you know you're dead when they don't bother. If you see them, then you're dead.
Yep. Yeah, he is just at his wit's end, and he knows he's got nobody to help him deal with this. Gibson's character
Unless he
feels that
wants somebody to help.
everybody else is playing the game, a different game. He understands what he's dealing with, and they seem to not understand.
At least in his eyes, they're just not doing enough to help. So he cuts them out. Once he realizes they're not getting anywhere, he goes on this solo fight for his son.
Absolutely, Eastland. His character is isolated. He is his own advisor. Nobody else is going to help him right now. And that's why when he pisses Sinise off and Sinise says, "That's it, I'm going to kill the kid," he fires the gun to where you can hear it, and he drops the phone. And he's like, "Oh my God, I killed my son. Oh my God, I killed my son." You know,
And that's when he gets his wife back. When he breaks down, she goes out and joins him. Because now they know they are everything they have left. Because they believe the son is dead.
take care, Cam. Good seeing you. Thanks for
Bye,
dropping in.
Cam.
And I want to point out again, it was so fun having Patrick jump in to talk about some of this stuff. The
Well, I
legal
could
side of
listen to him
things.
forever.
Yeah, I like his opinion. I don't always agree with him because you heard me disagree with him.
I wish you
Because
would guess.
he
one
doesn't.
day.
He's like, I can't say it's really DEI. I'm like, I can prove it's DEI because they had people on the detail that weren't tall enough for their primary. You don't do that ever. Ever. You have to be as tall or taller than your primary. That's a rule. It's part of the training, and they've got women on the detail that are 2 to 3 feet shorter than Trump. Like, come on.
One of them is even lactating.
Yeah, yeah, I
What
heard
has
about
that
that.
to do with
Left the detail to go
This
breastfeed.
is what they have to do. She abandoned her post because she had to feed her son.
it? Oh, okay. Yeah,
That is
yeah.
a problem.
You don't go
It's a
on an
huge problem.
assignment like that when you can outsource it.
Give somebody like that a desk job. You don't put them out there taking care of a primary. Also, I want to get back to this because I cannot get over what Dan Bongino said with that subcommittee. Oh my fucking God. If the Senate listens to him, and it seems like they are, heads are going to roll, and I don't mean literally, I mean figuratively, and people are going to be brought up on charges for malfeasance. And I keep bringing these things up. There are two things they can be charged for: neglect and malfeasance. If it's neglect, because they're idiots. But here's what he said that just blew my mind. He says, when you have layered incompetence, that's intent. Do you know what that means?
Again?
Yeah.
Layered incompetence is intent. It shows intent.
I agree.
When you have incompetence on top of incompetence on top of incompetence, one after the other like that, it's no longer incompetence, it is intent. It's like playing stupid. So this is it right here. He goes on live television. This is the one of the most powerful moments of the fucking movie.
I
And
have a clip
everybody
of
thinks
that.
he's going to plead with the kidnapper to give back the son, and he just turns it around completely.
And he puts
live
all that money.
on
This is
camera.
as close as you're ever going to get to this money. I'm putting this money on your head. There's a reward on your head. I love that line.
And the looks on
And look at
everybody's
Sinise
faces.
like, I did not see this coming. You fuck with somebody, and Gary Sinise is fucked with him. And you will find out some people will not fucking play your game with you anymore. When you would not do proof of life and drag your heels on it, he knew. they're going to kill my kid. They have no interest in getting us back together again. Their interest is the money and punishing me. And that's part of the punishment of him, too, is to kill his kid. Because Gary Sinise wants to hurt him and go on hurting him. Shocking turn of events on the news. I love that line.
Yeah.
Okay, let me. Because
And this is where she feels she separates from him. You're wrong for doing this, you know.
I will have to stop the video because it's minute and something. But man, that is something that needs to be.
And this? Well, this is what waits for the man that took him. This is your ransom.
Wait, I want to see this.
$2 million in unmarked bills, just like you wanted.
Stop for a while. At least it has no music, so they cannot.
Well, it's right now. You don't know what's going to happen. It's this buildup. You know, the $2 million you wanted for your ransom.
This
for
is
my
as
son.
close as you'll ever get to it.
Right there.
You'll never see $1 of this money. Because no ransom will ever be paid for my son. Not one dime, not one penny. Instead, I'm offering this money as a reward on your head. Dead or alive, it doesn't matter.
So right here, he's now playing a different game. And Gary Sinise isn't ready for that. Gary's like, I'm in charge of this game. This is my game. And he took back control. He says, no, this is my game now. It's a risky one. And exactly. And it's like when he asks that kidnapper that question about the address, give me the address. You know, what? What are you talking about? He knew right then and there. And this is the culmination of him putting it all together in his head that he's changing and he is going to do something new.
I don't think he knew right then and there, because when the guy dies because he was shot, he's like, okay, now all hopes
No,
are
he
gone.
put it together. I just said he put it together. My goodness.
After that, you say it right
And
then
back
and
it up
then,
now.
that's
Let
not
me back
true.
it up because I started playing again. It is
Become
true.
a $2 million lottery ticket. Except the odds are much, much better. Do you know anyone that wouldn't turn you in for $2 million?
Boom.
Nice question.
Boom.
That is the question. And now he's making math in his mind. Those motherfuckers in the house.
I doubt it. So wherever you go and whatever you do, this money will be tracking you down for all time. And to ensure that it does, to keep interest alive, I'm running a full-page ad in every major newspaper every Sunday for as long as it takes. But, and this is your last chance, you return my son, alive, uninjured, I'll withdraw the bounty. With any luck, you can simply disappear. Understand, you will never see this money. Not $1. So you still...
Boom.
Lily Taylor's losing it.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Look at the guy in the background. Look at
That's Evan Handler. And he is absolutely like, what the fuck? He's like, holy shit, what?
You'll have a chance to do the right thing. If you don't, well, then God be with you, because nobody else on this earth will be.
Fucking great stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. I am very fucking fond of this. Oh, another guy that's in this movie I forgot about is Dan Hedaya is in it.
Who?
That's Carla's ex-husband on Cheers.
Never saw
He's
Cheers.
also Night at the Roxbury, the dad that owns the floral shop. I love that guy. The guy's got ridiculous amounts of hair on his body. That is, I mean, there's Robin Williams. My God.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
a human ape.
The guy
But
who's
Dan
in prison.
Hedaya, when there's a scene of him in Alien 3 where
Yeah,
his
Alien
arms are
4.
sticking out, and it's like people were freaked out over how much hair is on that guy's fucking arm. It's like Dan the Day is hairy as fuck. So she now feels betrayed by him. So here's the wood scene. We just need to take him out and kill him.
Look who's here.
And hey, Zax.
Phrasing.
Yeah, bear, my buddy. So Lily Taylor in this part, as well as the others that are involved, are afraid, which is what leads them to do what they do in the woods, try to do. That is out of absolute fear. And
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going. I'm going.
Hey, fuck you, Kyle.
Yeah, buddy. Kyle, fuck you. So, and he's pleading with her to please understand him.
Oh,
hey, Deepa drops into what the fuck? Good to see both you guys, man. Wait, what did Gabby say? Yeah, he has to do what he has to do. And let me go through these real quick. A few people got to learn the answer. Eastland 5'6", not dangerous looking. Let's see, Gabby, exactly. But I think in real life situation, that kid is dead. Absolutely, they would have killed this kid. The partners are dead. I don't think it would have gone past that point. I think that at this point, he would have cleaned up and killed them all, including his girlfriend.
yeah, but seeing that he's a narcissist, he acts like Disney. He never admits that he made
failure.
a mistake.
No, I will not accept failure. It's like I said something because somebody posted a great artistic meme of Kathleen Kennedy, all fat, dumping cash into a toilet and saying, "I'm gonna, I'll retire on a big hit," kind of thing. Where she, and I said, the irony of that is, right now Disney is still in the red with Lucasfilms. They have not turned a profit yet. They're at a loss, absolute loss, and it's huge. We're talking about $2, maybe $3 billion loss with them at this point. They've, the closest they came was with Rogue One, and so I saw that meme last night, and I responded by putting it back on my page. I said, any other company will cut their losses at this point, but not Disney. Disney keeps quadrupling. I mean, at this point, multiple projects have lost them money, multiple, and they just keep going back to the well. And it's like, and they won't fire her. Well, if you're not going to fire her, why haven't you cut them loose? Just sell the fucking property. Sell Lucasfilm. Be done with it, because they've not made a profit off of it. In fact, it's a complete loss for them. And the only reason why is because people like Bob Iger are idiots. You have idiots running these companies because they're not doing what smart companies would do: cut their losses and sell it.
Speaking of Bob Iger and threats, remember this one?
You're threatening.
That was pure gold. Go.
Yeah.
Fuck
Because
yourself.
when he said that, he goes, it's like basically he was that Tom Cruise character in the comic war
Tropic
film
Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. What I want you to do is take a big step back and then literally fuck yourself in the face. What a line. No, even bother continuing the charade. Zax has been a member for 33 months consecutively.
Thank you, Sags.
Which shows that he makes a good living as a pimp up in Canada, because that's the only way you can make money. That and crack hooker. By the way, that reminds me of Norm Macdonald joke. Back when he was doing the news on SNL, and he says, "This year, the year-end analysis, the worst job of the year is crack whore."
Oh my God.
And then he waits a whole year to up that joke. So he says, the analyses are in, the polls are done. This year's worst job of the year is assistant crack whore. He took a whole year to deliver the punchline to the joke from the first year. Assistant crack whore. What's worse than being a crack whore? Assistant crack whore?
Oh, here's when the Delroy told her that in fact he was paid the bribe because she believed that he was innocent.
Yep. And which was his nervousness at the beginning of working with the FBI, because he said to his wife, "These people were just trying to put me in prison, and now they're going to help me." Absolutely, Zach. Norm was the king of comedy for me, number one. Right after him, Don Rickles. There are other comedians after him, Rodney Dangerfield. Good grief. Oh my God. And he's the only one still alive. Bob Newhart. I fucking loved his comedy. He did stand up. A lot of people don't know that Bob Newhart did stand up, but he did a different kind of stand up. His was story oriented, which I loved. So right now, his life is over too. He ended the life of Gary Sinise's character, his plans, and so the same thing's happening to Gibson. It's sort of that shared, the duality, the two sides of the same coin moment in the film. You see everything falling apart for Sinise, but it's also falling apart for Gibson's character. Did he die recently?
I wouldn't know.
I love Bob Newhart, man.
Within the last month or so, says Ariel.
It would have been recently. He did die in July. That was it. They're all gone now. Everybody from that group: Johnny Carson, Bob Newhart, Don Rickles. They're all close friends. Breaks my heart. I fucking love that guy, Bob Newhart. God, what a great guy. You've never seen anything until you see his King Kong skit. And none of them are left, man. Those old school comics are all dead now. So again, he is a rock.
He was recently assaulted by Gary Sinise. They met at an abandoned church, and he hit her with everything, and gave him the T-shirt of the kid, doused with the kid's blood. And of course, Mel is not happy with any of that.
Yeah, when your kidnappers deliver something like that, you don't trust them. Tim Conway, Harvey Korman, yeah. Yeah, I remember now when everybody was posting about it, and I woke up to it, and I'm like, oh, damn it.
Oh, I like the cool manner in which he takes this decision. He's seeing everything. He's seeing the T-shirt. He's seeing his beaten wife. He hears the whole spiel. I said, okay. Gets downstairs and talk to the press. That's it. And of course, I have a clip of that too.
Oh, let's play it.
Okay.
Statement. And that is that I'm undeterred in my course of action. And I'm raising the reward.
Like that,
I'm
you
raising it
bitch.
by $2 million. I want my son back. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
Is their behavior.
Statement.
Oh, wait. I thought you put the thing back up. There we go. So he doesn't trust them. He knows they intend to kill his child. He knows it in his bones. And he's going to trust his instincts in handling these people. And that's him. Right now, his character is thinking about cutting his losses. Or how can I work this to work for me?
4 millions. At the time, a considerable sum.
Now, this is one thing that he's not considering. As awesome as that is, he also puts his child at risk because then you're going to get people out to the bounty that are willing to go in there and they might kill his son accidentally if they have an idea. So it's a dangerous game he's playing. Hey, it's Lex Luthor. Oh, wait, no, it's Evan. And it's not so much he changed the rules, Ariel. It's he changed the game. He's like, this is the game you're playing. This is the one I'm going to play. And so it's a completely different sport altogether. And of course, Sinise doesn't like it. I guess it's a much better actor than he's ever been credited for. When he played Hamlet, I tell people his performance as Hamlet is really one of the best performances of his career. Easton's got to go. Bye. Have a great day.
Bye, Easton.
Thanks for dropping in.
See you later.
The moment in which that movie was sold to me was when Hamlet is in his room and he's alone and he keeps playing the crazy part because he doesn't know if somebody could be eavesdropping. That was the moment in which I said, this is the best Hamlet movie.
Yeah, so you agree with me. We need to do that on the show because I'm a big fan of that movie. Franco Zeffirelli did the best version of Romeo and Juliet. And it was a controversial film because of the sex scene with actors that were, I do believe, were underage. At least one of them was Olivia Hussey, who played Juliet. I think she was 15 when she played Juliet.
I think they just finally got proof of life and heard him talk on the phone briefly.
Yeah, he finally broke down and let him hear his son. And this is also, isn't this the scene with the gun? Where he gets pissed at him?
Yeah.
Wait. Let me stop it. Oh, what did I do? Ah, shit.
I think he lets him talk to his son for a very short moment and then says, are you going to like turn around now and give me the money? And he's just like, no, the rules still stand. And that's when he loses his shit and fires the gun. And both of them think the son is dead.
Yeah, I was trying to stop it.
You got the shades drawn? Kind of like a cellar, right? Like a cave? Well, you better get used to that. You better get used to crawling in the dark for the rest of your days, because I am going to get the best group of manhunters in this country, and I.
The face of the wife is, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. That's what she's been
Now,
thinking for
I'm
a
going to
while
tell
now.
you, there is a detective back in the old days that was that kind of manhunter. His name was J.J. Arms. And if you've never heard of this guy, go look him up. He was the considered the world's best manhunter detective. And he had prosthesis arms. That he knew how to fire a fucking pistol with it, too. He was accurate shooting people, and he had to. He was, I do believe, a combat veteran, lost his arms in combat. So there are specialists out there.
I'm going to dedicate my life to tracking you down. Hey, get your head out of your ass! You think you can?
These are two fucking alpha males going at it right now.
Threaten me, huh? Who do you think you're dealing with? Give me the money! Fuck you and your 2 million. Don't you understand English, you useless piece of shit? No money, none! Let me tell you something. You think you're suffering right now? Huh? You got no idea what suffering is. If I don't get the cash, in 1 hour, this kid is dead! I don't get my son back, and I mean real soon. You better kill yourself. Because when I catch up with you, I'm gonna take my goddamn time.
Everybody just grabbing their heads.
The police is listening.
Fuck!
I mean, the police is listening as he threatens murder.
I'm going to kill you slowly. I'm going to take my fucking time with you. It's like, holy shit. This scene.
It's insane.
All right, hit play again. This is incredible.
By the time we're finished, you're gonna wish you weren't born. I'll have your head on a fucking pike. You understand me? Fuck you! I'll fucking kill him right now. I want to talk. You kill him. You kill yourself, you motherfucker. Give me back my son. Hello. You want him? Yes. You want him? Daddy! Ah! Oh, Jesus. Oh,
God. Holy shit. High drama.
They had to believe that he just shot the son.
Okay, I think I went back a little too much. Okay, the phone is falling. And I have another sequence of this. Oh, I'm hearing thunder in my house. Oh shit.
What, you too?
Yep.
Well, let's get to the end of the
When you
slideshow
hear
then. It's gonna
farts
be
in your head, that's
electricity.
God farting.
Are you talking from experience, Gary?
As an Irish Catholic, yeah. So let's see,
Okay.
what is this? The way that corrupt cop double crosses his accomplices, sort of a red herring, because he is trying lead Mel Gibson on a false trail, making it seem like he is on his. Yeah, just there's lots of game playing in this by Sinise. Yeah, the tension in that scene, it's palpable. And I really do consider that not only one of Mel Gibson's best films, I consider that probably the best film Ron Howard's ever directed. And I mean, above Apollo 13, above Willow. Yeah, I love Willow. I love a lot of his film. Backdraft. I consider this the better film. Let's see. What did the dad not believe this could happen?
It's a gambling.
He did not trust this guy because he had lied to him. He caught him lying about how to release his son. And when you lie about that, you know you are not playing the same game. And that's when he chose to play his own game. Because once he put it all together after the guy was confused, Donnie Wahlberg's character was confused when he asked about the address, once he realized what that meant, because first he had to realize that Donnie Wahlberg wasn't the guy he was talking to on the phone. And he goes, wait a minute, he was confused by that because he didn't know that we had talked about that. But hold on. If he didn't know about that, that means that what he said wasn't part of the plan on their side because he didn't know. So there are two realizations that he had to come to in that. And once you come to those realizations, everything's out the window. You are on your fucking own to get your kid back, and he knows it. He knows
Yeah,
the FBI cops and his wife are not going to help him do what he needs to do.
Also, he knows there's at least one more person involved
Now-
with the kidnapping, and the more people involved,
Wait,
the more
let me-
complicated it gets.
Let
Now
me
Against
pause this,
one guy.
because
This is that
I-
moment that you brought up earlier, Martin. That
Yes,
the
I got
moment
this.
he comes back to him is this moment.
No, that was from Anima.
Yeah, that was for me.
I cannot take credit.
No,
for
you said that
the
to me earlier, Martin.
What's that?
Yeah.
However, I have the video. He said it that but because I only left the acting of the grieving
How long are
the
these
grieving
videos?
parents. What? Look, man, that acting is.
I asked you how long these videos are, each one of them.
Minute and 1 minute and 20. Okay.
Oh my God, you made them so long. Instead of cutting them up. Oh man.
Well, I cut this up because this one was 2 minutes and something.
All right, it's okay. It's okay. Oh God! That's not what you tell a mom who just lost her kid. You're going to be all right. Fuck off.
Yeah, you and I noticed that. It was like, what a dumb thing to say.
It's
You-
like
you just
when
offer
you
them
see
comfort. That's all.
the reporter asking criminals, "What do you feel?" What the fuck? How
Well, that
how do you feel
happens,
after opening
Ariel.
up?
That happens with people because I've seen that happen in my work. That when people lose their shit, they will cry themselves sick, which is where that saying "cry myself sick," to where you cry so much that you begin throwing up.
It's also a shock to the system.
It's part of it.
Yeah.
There's a huge traumatic event that's just happened, and your body's trying to deal with it, and it doesn't really know how to, because so many of your senses are being impacted by this moment.
And here he's
And
contemplating.
he's thinking about jumping off. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking at him, and nobody's getting there.
Another thing that happens, and you see that in movies and hospitals when families are told one of their loved ones died, is that they can't stand anymore. Their whole body just goes slack. And it's not
Yeah.
them
It-
letting themselves drop to the ground. The
Another
muscles just
problem
stop
here.
working.
The scene has soundtrack music.
Yeah.
No. It's Here.
I just muted it.
I hated that, yeah.
And
It's
It's
just a
easy to
couple of-
break
that's him
down.
giving
you
in.
you can unmute it. It's just a couple of notes.
And that's when she realizes they only have each other now. So she goes back to him and they suffer together. And yeah, Gary, that was me who said it.
Look at that man.
The acting is so
Okay, we don't need to
it's
see any more of this.
heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking, that scene.
It is. He thinks that he just caused the death of his kid. No, we get claimed. Not from the dialogue, but we'll get claimed for the music. It only takes a single bar of music to get you claimed.
I didn't like the music in that scene though. The focus should have just been on the two of them and what they're going through.
He looks like
Dramatic
a
enough.
psychopath in that scene. I want to go back to that right
Dude.
there. See that?
That was the
In a
that was the
mirror
first-
darkly,
Mm.
in a mirror darkly, the reflection.
Yeah.
That was the first time that I saw Gary Sinise. So it took me a lot of effort to see him as a good guy afterwards.
What's so cool about Gary Sinise is his natural wrinkle line is the wrinkles they put on Batman's mask.
Yep.
Bet nobody ever noticed that before. Look at his wrinkle line there. That is Batman's mask. That's the wrinkles that they put on Batman's mask.
And I'm still
He's got
saying he
perfect-
could.
Oh, he could have. He
No,
still
he
could
could
probably
have
play the
been-
older. He
He
could have
could
played
have been
young.
McCoy.
I think he would have been a good Bruce Wayne at Batman.
Yeah, but I'm talking about McCoy, Leonard McCoy. He could have been Leonard McCoy.
Oh, absolutely. Bones, yeah. About being cleaned, I'm just saying in general, yeah, what Anima said.
And this is where he turns on his own people.
Yeah, he realizes this is the end game.
There's no way out. So
This is his only way to save the situation.
by
And
playing good
what
cop
you're
who saves the
not
day.
understanding is in his mind, he's also thinking this is the only way I'm going to get my money.
He still thinks he gets the money, yeah. And he gets
Because
close.
he thinks he can get the reward now. So he fakes like with the badge. And then they realize, oh shit. And shoots both of them point blank. And then he tosses a burner gun inside the van. Oh, actually, he makes the guy fire it into a wall.
No, he fires him because the guy is already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He physically, okay, language here. I am correct what I said. He puts the gun in his hand and makes him fire it.
No.
Literally makes his
It
hand
is what
fire
he's doing, yeah.
it. It is exactly what I'm saying.
No. I have the video.
Go ahead. He put the gun in his hand and he fired it.
No.
That's what I remember.
He fires and then put the gun on his head.
Police!
That's stupid.
He's a cop. He would know that there are no traces of
Okay,
him
let
firing
me
the
move
gun. He
this. Okay,
just puts
okay.
the gun in his hand.
Wait.
You have to fire it from their hand to
wait,
get
wait.
gunshot residue.
Yeah.
Wait. And now. Boop.
Yeah, that's bad. That's
Yeah.
bad
Yes.
because the guy has no gunshot residue.
And here's the kicker of the thing. You can notice when he goes to the apartment to collect the ransom, you started to hear conversations on the radio, because all of that fell off in the investigation. The police know that he is the one, and they're looking for him, and that is why he wants them the rewards before, because they have convened to give him the money the next week. So he made that up. Everything goes tits up, and
I want to get back to the scene. So
Okay.
he shoots his girlfriend when she shoots him, and it led to one of the worst use of fake blood I've seen in a long time.
Oh my god.
Where she was laying down on it, and this is the blood they use in this is the Karo syrup mix. And what happens to the Karo syrup is it congeals on top when it's sitting for a long period of time. So when you see the scene, she's laying in it, and suddenly you see these weird ripples in the sugar from movement of her body. And that only happens with the sugar. And so I wish they had lit that differently to where you couldn't see the ripples. But it's still a lot of blood. He
It's
killed
an
her.
intense
He killed
scene.
everybody.
And I think she shoots at him because she realizes she saw him kill the other dudes, and she realizes, oh my god, he needs to be stopped, and there's only me now. So she shoots at him.
And I think the only reason why she did that was because he shot the other two
Yeah.
in front of her.
And there's only her to stop him now.
well,
Something needs to be done, and she's
in her
finally
mind,
doing the right thing.
she must be thinking, "I'm next."
Yep.
That too, maybe, yeah.
Even though I don't think he was gonna. That look on his face kind of said
No, he wasn't.
he was not going to kill her.
He was going to try and run away with her, yeah. But she just saw his true face. And she's dismissed
So
it.
the place is abuzz. Place is abuzz. They get their kid back, and they just have their great reunion. There's problems in this marriage they're going to have to deal with. He came clean, or he comes clean. with what he did.
Ariel, the cops have they know now that it's someone from the inside. They don't know it's him yet, but they know that was one of us. The things he knew and the way he did things, that's someone from the inside turning bad. And this is why he wants to get out. So he wants to get the money before the appointment.
Yeah, he knows he's gonna be this. It's gonna be revealed that it's him. That is why he's so desperate to get the money today and get out.
He's not taking chances, and he's like, "Man, dude, I've just been shot on duty. I need a vacation. I need to get out. So can we do this now?" And he's almost selling it until the kid comes.
And well, it's when he turns and he sees his son standing at the end of the hallway wearing his PJs,
himself.
And he's heard Gary Sinise's voice, and he pisses himself in fear.
That's when he knows.
And he looks at him, and he realizes, and he looks back at Gary Sinise. Gary Sinise can't see the kid down the hall. He doesn't know the looks that are being shared between father and son.
And the kid doesn't make a noise, thankfully.
Kid doesn't want to be in the dark. I love this.
And even though Gary Sinise cannot see the kid, he knows what is happening.
He can read people, because when they start talking and he says, "Yeah, sure, we can."
Yeah, he noticed the changes in
it's
Mel
too
Gibson's
easy. It
character.
gets too easy all of a sudden, getting the money early. And he's not stupid. He just made bad decisions. So he picks it up, and then things escalate again. But for a moment there, he thinks he's got this. He's going to get his money early and leave.
It could have happened that way.
Yeah, that's what makes this movie so good. It's a simple story, but the writing is so good. And this movie is 2 hours long, but it has you on the edge of your seat for the whole fucking time. You don't realize how long this movie is. And I'm the first person to complain about the movie being too long, but not with this one. This one's great.
There are so many moving parts, and it's what keeps you going. Yeah, exactly. He pees himself when he hears Sinise's voice. And it takes a moment, but Mel puts it together in his head. This is the guy.
Oh, mama. Thor is angry here.
What?
He's talking about the thunderstorm on his end.
Oh. And by the way, I have to agree from a statement made earlier. Donnie Wahlberg's a much better actor than his brother, Mark.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I mean, in the movie The Sixth Sense, holy shit. It took me weeks to figure out that was Donnie Wahlberg at the beginning. I'm like, oh my God, that was Donnie Wahlberg? He was good.
It's a great movie, but I still can't understand how people cannot find out what's going on. How people are surprised by the ending, that he's a ghost. I picked that up early. I watched it with my brothers, and they both were like, holy shit. And yet, look at them like, what? You haven't figured this out? What? You watched it?
And Gibson really likes this guy right now, because he's like, you saved my son's life. Absolutely. I'll give you anything. And
for a moment, he's buying it. Yeah.
He's buying it. It's not until his son.
Because he knows his son. And his son has been through a lot, yes, but why would he pee himself upon hearing a stranger's voice? That's not a stranger. Then it clicks.
And Sinise, he says a specific word that I cannot recall what it is, that the kidnapper used to him in the telephone. And that is what it said. Yes, it's him.
What was it?
I don't remember.
Is it in the subtitle?
But he was it's probably not here, but because he's
no
seriously
problem.
considered.
Isn't it something like that? No problem at all.
Yes, that's the phrase.
Thank you, brain, for kicking in once more.
So, and I love Gibson right here starts talking shit about the kidnapper, cold-blooded, two-faced.
And here's the kid, horrified. That kid, I mean, I have a problem with kids in movies because they're often they can't be good actors, most of them. This kid pulls it off. Absolutely, Gabby. Agreed. That's great acting. I don't even know how old the guy is.
There, see the eye he's giving him? He's side-eyeing the shit out of Sinise.
Yeah.
Let's give him a breather.
Oh my God! Imagine if the wife would have appeared with the kid, because she said, I'm going to bring him in." And nope.
Okay, the jig's about up. This is about the point where Gary Sinise's character figures it out that he's been made. Hi, Mama Kitty. What you want?
And he's still playing friendly here.
Some of the cats
Well.
come back to visit me. It's nice. Often I just assume they just want to get to the window, but then they actually stop and want some loving off me. So, okay.
Especially Nix. Nix is the affair that Gary's allowed to have.
Well, Nix and Ivy are the two who are the most affectionate towards me. Ivy's the long-haired black and white cat. She's funny. I like her.
Oh.
So this is at this point, he's now fully aware. He's got the gun out. Let's deal with this right here. And that this scene ends up out of the apartment is the most shocking part, because he's like, I want to make sure I have the money. So we're going to go get the money.
To your bank, where there's other people. Just when,
Well,
when you think it's finally over, it gets so intense again.
The idea of going physically to the bank is from Mel's, because he and he tells him, I want you out of my house, because the police, the cop, he says, make the transfer via telephone. And I said, no, let's go to the bank because I don't want you in my house.
I know. I was talking from the audience's point of view. You think this is over, and then, oh my God, they're going to go to the bank and there's people there. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And right at the end of the movie, this is brilliant. Like I said, it has you on the edge of your seat for the whole 2 hours.
Bye, Penny.
Bye, Penny.
Bye, Penny.
This is Poker, the movie.
Yep.
Gabby has got it right. Yes, he's buying himself time to come up with a plan. That's why he suggested going to the bank.
Yeah, well,
he's making a plan and hoping that everything goes his way, because he needs things to go a specific way for it to work.
So all he has for now.
Well, if he only gets to get the cop out of his house, that's a win.
And
it's a win.
Away from the family. But if on top of that, he can get it right.
Yeah, he's in the car. He's okay. I saved my family. Now I have to save myself.
The day, Jimmy Shaker Day.
He's threatening to kidnap the son again. I did it
I'll
once
get
in
him
the
again.
middle of all these people.
It won't be kidnapping. He will kill his son.
Yeah.
If I got him once, I can get him again.
Yeah. What an asshole.
Well, it shows how evil he is.
Yeah, and I love it when they make characters like that. So you just hate them with a passion for the whole movie. This is
You
great.
want them dead.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. You want them dead an hour ago. But the movie's 2 hours, so he can't be dead an hour ago. He's the master of side-eye. Look at that.
Man, poor kid.
Yeah, hiding in the tent.
Oh, there's gonna be years of therapy.
Uh-huh. And of course, they run into a police officer as they park where you're not allowed to park, right in front of the bank. But he's a hero now, so he can do what he wants. He gets away with it.
That that thing, that line.
Yeah.
Well, can I say? He's the man. he's trying to tell them he's the kidnapper.
Oh, Ariel, dark.
It's awful.
Yeah, you like that, of course. I mean, I do too, but it's fucking dark.
Yeah, everybody taking selfies and shit because he's the super cop hero.
What's with all the backward writing, Martin?
With the what?
You get a whole screen of backwards writing.
Okay, here we go. Call over the
Homestead.
radio. There it is. I got to call over the radio.
Yeah.
They're looking for him.
And now he knows it's over. Busted. A lot of
And-
shooting in this movie.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that it was a lot of shooting.
A lot of intense shooting scenes. The one in the dark
Especially,
with the helicopter
especially
involved and everything.
there's a problem in here because, as Gary has said before, in New York by that time, the law enforcement was obligated that if they shoot one, they have to do a mag dump, and they don't do it here.
Because they're not real cops.
That's the dumbest legislation I have ever seen.
So another interesting bit of trivia about this, during production, like Kevin Costner when he was making Open Range, Mel Gibson had an appendicitis and had to have an appendectomy during the production.
Whoa, not fun.
No, it's not. Hey man, we got a lot of guns on you, and
Back in the 90s,
Gibson's
they had
not
to open
gonna
you
let him
up
go.
for an appendectomy. So it takes you out for a week at least.
Gibson's not going to fucking not pull that trigger. There it goes,
Yeah, but
black and white.
He just shoots
Yeah.
him though. It's the police guy who empties his magazine into him.
3 shots.
Yeah, well, Gibson just sends him to the ground. The police guy finishes
Yeah,
the job.
Gibson does a single shot and drops the gun.
Yeah.
However, I would have preferred another ending. I would have preferred that the cop doesn't have any backup guns, and he's just dying slowly from lost blood. And I would have make Gibson's character kneel at inches from him and watching him die, and that's
Yeah,
it.
he also would have had to say, "I told you I would take my
Yeah.
sweet time." That
Yeah,
would be great.
yeah.
Yes.
So I
That
loved
fixed
how it
ending.
went black and white in that last scene.
Oh yeah, that was so good.
And it's something that a lot of people don't notice, that the movie's logo at the beginning is in black and white. And I do believe it's a nod to the original film. I don't know, but it is a weird thing. Now, here's something a lot of people don't know. Actor-director Ron Howard actually went to school with Rene Russo. So they've known each other for years, long before she became a known commodity. Ray Liotta was originally picked to play the bad cop in this, and he turned it down. And the original story, Ransom, was told on a TV series in 53 or 54, one of those two, and was eventually turned into film, Ransom, ! In 56, starring again Glenn Ford. And just to talk about that one real quick, the cast in that one was really good. They got America's favorite housewife, Donna Reed, to play the mother. Leslie Nielsen is in it. Glenn Ford is not the cop, he is the father. But Leslie Nielsen, this is back when he was a serious actor, you know. It was an early film for a major black character to be in it. Wano Hurnham played Jesse Chapman in the film. It was one of the main characters. But that was pretty much it for the major players in the film. Everybody else were your typical second cast actors. So, but it's a good film. I've always recommended it. My favorite kidnapping film with Glenn Ford. Let me see if I can remember the name of that film. It had the dude from Wild Wild West. I'm trying to dig, guys. I'm sorry. Came out in about 60, I think. Wait, fuck it. I'm just gonna look it up. But here, try to get my retrieval system to work in my brain. All right, here we go. Glenn Ford. Let's go through his films. Because it's a film I would not mind doing on one of our Wednesday or Saturday shows. Because that movie was a nightmare for me as a kid. There's Ransom. And then he did a film. Where's it at? And before I even got to it, Ross Martin was the psycho in the film. There it is. Experiment in Terror, 1962, with Lee Remick and Stephanie Powers. It was Stephanie Powers' first film. And a kidnapper has Lee Remick's little sister or daughter, I can't remember. And Glenn Ford plays the agent working with her to try to get her back. And Ross Martin plays the wheezing kidnapper who is so scary and creepy and skeevy. The way he looks at the young girl, underage girl in this film. That is a hell of a movie. It's called Experiment in Terror. If you've never seen that movie, watch that movie.
Experiment in Terror.
Experiment in Terror, starring Glenn Ford and Lee Remick, 1962. Outstanding film. So, and again, for the wife in Ransom, they got Donna. She was like everybody's favorite mom at the time on TV. So she was beloved by a lot of people. So let's see. Gary Sinise is seen carrying 2 and 3 handguns. This is a common practice for New York Police Department in the early days. They were forbidden to use a speed lower for their revolvers, so they always carried a backup. Touchstone's Pictures hoped to have the film ready by summer of '96, but Mel Gibson's appendectomy during production led to delays. Bryce Dallas Howard makes a cameo as a girl who nearly gets run over when Mel Gibson's character runs a yellow light. So that's Bryce Dallas Howard in the crosswalk. Ron Howard turned down the offer to direct The Chamber in '96 in order to direct this movie. And I'm glad, because I didn't think The Chamber was as good as this. Kurt Russell, Harrison Ford, Kevin Costner, and Dennis Quaid were all considered for the leading role. Rene Russo and Mel Gibson were also a couple in Lethal Weapon 3 and 4 later, but that was later. Ron Howard's first choice for the role of Detective Jimmy Shaker was Alec Baldwin, who turned down the role due to a sinister nature of the character, because he doesn't want anybody that's less sinister than him. You know? And he doesn't want to shoot anybody unless it's a director of photography. Interesting, Ron Howard and Mel Gibson were competing for Academy Awards for Best Picture for the 68th annual in 96 with Apollo 13, 95, and Braveheart in 95. James Horner was later chosen to film for the film after Howard Shore's score was rejected. The only reason why Horner was available is because he had just composed Gibson's and Ron Howard's previous film, Apollo 13 and Braveheart. Philip Seymour Hoffman and Jack Black both auditioned for the role of Cubby Barnes in this movie. The nosy reporter at the party was played by actual reporter A.J. Benza, which you know who he is, right?
Nope.
No.
He is best known for, skirting controversy, but he was the host of, what was that? Self. I got to click on himself. Let me look this up real quick because it was a big show that I used to watch all the time about the dark side of Hollywood. And he would tell these dark ass stories about actors and producers of Hollywood in the past and the shit they would do. Here it is. Mysteries and Scandals. It was all about Hollywood. That was a good show. It lasted 4 seasons. And that's really what he's best known for. The pistol recovered from the corner grocery store robbery is a Beretta 85 BB and a 380 ACP. It is also the gun Gary Sinise uses in the additional backup gun in the final scene. The area of the park where Sean is kidnapped from and where Tom and Kate immediately start looking for him is the same location where Harry and Marv search for Kevin among the crowd in Home Alone 2. It's also the park that John Wick meets.
I need to get going, guys. I need to get going. It's late.
All right. Can I talk some more about the film? You can go, hon. Have a good night. I love you.
I need to.
But I need to do some of this stuff. The area of the park was used in Home Alone 2, and it was used in John Wick. When they're driving to the money swap, Shaker says to Mullen over the radio, "Good luck to you, Lenny." This is a reference to the character of Lenny Small and George Milton from John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. That's funny because Gary Sinise got his big break with Malkovich doing Of Mice and Men adaptation. Let's see. Mel Gibson suggests John Smith as a good pseudonym. Gibson provided the voice of John Smith in Pocahontas a year before. Gary Sinise would go on to play another rogue cop 1 year later in Brian De Palma's Snake Eyes, which I like that movie. A lot of people don't like that film, thought it was crap. I enjoyed that film, him and Nick Cage. Rene Russo and Delroy Lindo appeared together in Get Shorty, which I told you earlier. Alec Baldwin was the first choice. Nobody cares. The Glock 19 used by Gary Sinise has titanium night sights installed on it. So that's neat. Let's see. During the Australian ratings advice PSA, the movie is shown on screen as the woman in the mature 15 plus t-shirt is giving a description on the rating. That's weird. So I think that's the most interesting stuff about it. That's it. So let's see if we got some goofs here. When Shaker sends a message to Kate, it says, "Mommy, 2 a.m., come alone." But when Kate goes to the church, sunlight is coming through the windows. So clearly not 2 a.m. The tattoo on Maris's neck changes position frequently. While writing in the that's a continuity editor problem. That you have a person on set that's supposed to make sure there's continuity. Take photos of everything. While riding in the elevator, we see that Tom's apartment is on the 16th floor. From the balcony of his apartment, it can be seen that he is no way 16 stories high. So it's not that tall. When Sean spits the cough syrup on Maris' shirt, you can clearly see two large red spill spots on the left and right side. In the next scene, she comes into the kitchen wiping her left side while the right side is completely clean. After the scuffle with Tom in the lighting store, Shaker's shirt alternates between being blood-soaked and clean. That's a continuity issue again. Let's see. Yeah, I don't care about that one. When Tom returns in his penthouse after the failed transfer of the ransom money, he hugs his wife in two shots alternate with Hawkins talking. Tom has the left and right arm on his wife's back. The next shot, when you hear again, this is the continuity thing. I don't consider those legitimate goofs. I don't know. I'm picky about that shit. So, but I do love this film. The film was directed, of course, by Ron Howard, but it was written by Cyril Hume, Richard Mayburn, and Richard Price. And let's see, Cyril Hume went on to work on some previous films. He worked on Forbidden Planet as one of the screenwriters, as well as a writer on the Rifleman TV series. Richard Mayburn, and that's because he wrote the original script, by the way, that it was adapted from. Richard Maybaum had worked on the original film. He's best known for one of the screenwriters of several James Bond films, Thunderball, Goldfinger, For Your Eyes Only, The Spy Who Loved Me, as just a few of the films he worked on. And then Richard Price, I think, is the current writer, if I recall. Yeah, he's the modern writer that was involved in adapting it. And he's best known for films like The Sea of Love with Al Pacino, The Color of Money with Tom Cruise, Paul Newman, and he was a writer of 5 episodes of The Wire. Great show. And he also wrote 10 episodes of a series that I want to cover. One of the few things by Stephen King I liked is called The Outsider miniseries. It was really fucking good, and which starred Ben Mendelsohn, Bill Camp, Jeremy Bobb, and what is his name? Crap. It's not his name. Patty Considine is in it too. But the comedic actor, Jason Bateman, is a major character in the series. It's a good show. So, but that's it. I think we covered enough. I like to give a little bit of trivia here at the end of the show. Big fan of this film. If you haven't seen it before, go see it. And if you've never seen the original film with Glenn Ford, you should watch it. It's a good film. But even better than the original Ransom is the film Experiment in Terror with Lee Remick. And that is a must-see Glenn Ford film. If you've never seen it, get a copy. Find a place that shows it online. If you didn't know this, if you want to find out where to watch a film, if it's available online, simply go to Google and you type in where to watch, then you put the name of the film and absolutely put the year, 1962. And Google will tell you all the locations online you can watch it. Patty is finally getting some recognition. I'm going to tell you that. And some of the stuff he's done over in Ireland and England for the BBC and for ITV is really good stuff. He is a great young actor. I love the guy. So, but again, Anima had to go because it's like after midnight there in Austria. So she went to bed, and hope she's having a good night. And I want you guys to have a great day today. We'll see you again on Friday. Keith doing a show tomorrow?
Yes, and it's gonna be a Batman theme show. Everything Batman, from news to comics to TV, movies, collectible. It's your Batman fest.
And he does love his Batman. It's something that he and I do get into long conversations about. And then Monday, I guess we're going to be talking about SEAL Team. Saturday, Tom and I are going to be doing Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun talking with Tom about that
Oh,
movie.
me too. And I
Because
have
we had a blast last night, despite Tom not being there. But we had Brian. So I always tell him, I said, I always have the most fun when Brian and Tom are there because we play off each other with our humor. And I love Red Shirt. Red Shirt comes with the knowledge. And all the other guys, Brahma Bull, all those guys. I love them all. But Tom and Brian and I, when we get together, it's always going to be fun. And Nick said that. He says, the most fun episodes is when the three of you are going at it. And we've got great chemistry, the three of us, Tom, Brian, and I. That's why we're friends. We like hanging out. And I will point this out with Toxic Tuesday. I forget sometimes we're doing a show. And I'll stop looking over at the chat because I'm so caught up in the conversations we're having and the jokes we're bantering with each other. I will forget there are people watching and talking in the chat, and I'll go, oh, fuck. There's stuff going on in the chat. Petty Cassidy is, yeah. And that's from Bumpy Johnson, by the way. Absolutely agree with you, Bumpy. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. Comic Relief Crusader popped in. Emmanuel, Gabby, SPN13. Thanks for joining us. Glad you enjoyed yourself. I hope you enjoyed yourself. You seem to. Cam's Crash Courses. Ariel O'Neill Ballet. Dragon Ruse is here. Snortapoopas Cuber. Tony the Tiger, another new one. Welcome to the show. Hope you had fun. Bumpy Johnson. Now, Bumpy's still new, but he's not absolutely new. But he looks like he's having a good time. Deleted Scenes. My buddy Stephen was here. Mr. Tickle Trunk popped in. Mike Ortega was here. Popped in and made a few comments. Penny, of course, I love seeing her. Eastland Bulkholder was here for a little bit. Zach's, my good buddy Zach. Kyle. Fuck you, Kyle. D. Bud Martin, hardest working wrench in the community. Our big horror fan friend, Slasher Fred was here. So I want to thank everybody for showing up. Thanks, Evan, for sticking around for at least 99.9% of the show. A lot of good commentary from the panel, I got to tell you. Yeah, fun stuff. I like doing these shows. I really do. Even though sometimes we go off. I just love when we do come back and start talking about the movie and all the shit we talk about. Because these are great fucking movies. That's why we're talking about it. That's why we love them. So, but that's it. I'm out of energy. Last word I have to say about today's show.
The following people are gay.
And I mean it. I'll see you guys later. Part was brought to you by Venezuela, home of pure communism. Martin's wardrobe was supplied by nobody knows. Never gets on camera. Oh man, I guess that's the ending. It's over.